everybody, it's episode 48, and here we are at EdTech Chat and Chew. Excited, super excited, because Andrea's back. Yay! We've missed her. She's been very busy transitioning to some new roles in her building and going and having so many different hats. She gets to carve one to be back as an EdTech Chat and Chew podcaster this year.
Yay! I'm so excited. I put the note on my door and I said, leave me alone. And the teacher just came in and I said, thanks, bye.
It just warms my heart to see you. So, Andrea, why don't you tell them where you're from and what you do?
Well, I am in Irving, Texas, and I am an instructional technology specialist. But like Diane said, this year I've been kind of holding a few other extra hats, but that's okay because I'm the busy bee. I like that, but now I'm kind of in the groove. You know, we're in October, so I'm kind of hit the groove. Now we'll see what happens again in December or January, but for now, I'm here.
Fantastic. So welcome back, Andrea. And of course we have Mike. Yay, Mike!
Hey, everyone.
And Mike, where do you live?
I'm in Pennsylvania still.
Yeah. And I am from Andover, Kansas. And Micah is usually with me, but it is our in-service day here in the Andover schools, and she's working with some teachers this hour. So we also are bringing on Darcy.
Yeah.
Who will be joining.
I'm really excited about that. Yay!
She's coming in from North Carolina. And is Jed going to be joining us too, Mike?
Possibly. I'm not sure.
So crossing fingers for a South Carolina representative as well coming in. So, yeah, the team is just expanding. But what I love about it, oh, go ahead.
No, are they okay with the weather, though? Like, are they getting flooded? Is that, I mean...
Well, you know, our friend Jed is in...
sorry to interrupt.
Is in South Carolina, and, you know, he does some amazing stuff. But right now, he is actually in one part of the state where it's not too bad, but all the flooding around them has kind of isolated their county. So he's safe, but it's a big lake all around him.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
Good. It's the real things that are happening, current events for sure. So yeah, he was saying that most of the state was shut down today, schools and shut down and things. So he may be just having a day of just checking in with his friends and such. So yeah, it's just exciting to see us all expanding and growing. So it's good. All right, so today we're going to be talking about some of the things that are happening with tech in our schools, and then we're going to bring up a bigger conversation of topic that for World Teacher Day, talk about the diversity of teaching around the world. But Mike, what do you know about World Teacher Day? Why don't you kind of bring a background in?
Yeah, so you know, it hasn't really caught on as much in the United States as it should, but I'm hoping that will start to change. It is celebrated worldwide. It's been, I think this is the second or third year that it's been celebrated, and basically it's just a celebration of teachers that are, you know, out there doing what they can to shape the next generation and make sure that kids are maximizing their potential and all of the reasons why we became teachers in the first place. And you know, today I'll be leading a Twitter chat. I've been asked as a member of the Varkey Ambassador program and one of the top 50 finalists for the Global Teacher Prize to lead a global Twitter chat. Where we're going to try and bring in stories from all over the world of just great teaching and great things that teachers are doing for students. So I'm really excited about that. It's you know, it's definitely, with so much negative narrative about education going on worldwide, this is our chance to change that narrative and tell the positive stories in education.
Oh, I love it.
And I believe it's sponsored by the United Nations. Am I right to say that?
I believe so, yeah.
And what I was following a little bit this morning is this year's focus will be on early childhood. The reason why every child deserves to read and have those resources in those early years, which we all know is very important. Andrea, in your building, do you have a pre-K environment in your building?
No. We have 3 pre-K campuses in our district, but ours is K through 5.
And just your own opinion on this, what is real powerful, do you believe, for early childhood? What resources, or what's your opinion on that?
My big belief is that every student, every child should have the opportunity for pre-K, because not all kids have that opportunity for pre-K, depending on their social, ours at least is socioeconomic status and background. So not everybody has the opportunity to go to pre-K, of course, unless it's private. You know, but public-wise. So I think that every student should have that chance and that opportunity.
Mike, what would you say?
Yeah, I can't disagree with anything that Andrea says. You know, but going back to the UN connection, recently I've been taking a look. We know that the United Nations just came out with their Sustainable Development Goals, which replaced the Millennium Development Goals that they had 15 years ago. So we've got a new set, and I believe there's 17 of them. And certainly education is a big piece of that. But when you look at those Sustainable Development Goals around the world, education is really the basis of all of them. If we start with education, we can solve all of those other problems. And I think that's one of the reasons why the UN's a big supporter of World Teachers Day, because it's the teachers out there, not just in the United States here, us talking, but worldwide, that are doing this heavy lifting and this hard work that's going to raise not only individual students and schools and communities, but also whole countries, hopefully out of poverty in the future.
Most definitely. Education is that key to opportunity. And if we can excite young people to love, to learn, be curious, discover what there is to discover in your own community, gosh, there's unlimited possibilities for them. So World Teacher Day is very, very exciting day in education. So awesome. All right, so let's switch over to our roundtable. Mike, what is happening in Pennsylvania lately?
Oh, there's lots of good stuff going on here. First, let me tell you an update on the 5 Clue Challenge. So we put that out 2 weeks ago, and the website is up, 5cluechallenge.weebly.com, number 5, cluechallenge.weebly.com. And we now have, I think, 21 videos from all over the world. A lot of them are me when I traveled, giving 5 clues, and you have to guess my location or what animal I'm standing next to. But we have started to get them in from other locations, different places around the world. I know we've got one in from Serbia, we've got one from South Africa, all different places. And we have a couple of teachers that have commented to me that said that their students are in the process of making them now, which is exactly what we were looking for. And I know one is, we've got Russian students working on one and Brazilian students. So that's definitely, if your students haven't taken the 5 Clue Challenge yet, or if you're not sure exactly what that is, go check it out, 5cluechallenge.weebly.com. Lots of good stuff there. Here in my classroom, we've been doing a lot of hands-on science stuff. Being a first-year science teacher and having done this, not done this before for 18 years of my career, it's been an interesting transition, because I am not satisfied with just pulling out a textbook and flipping pages and having kids learn that way. So we're trying to make things as hands-on and inquiry-based as possible. Friday we went out and we were studying photosynthesis, and there was a big chart in the book, and I said, well, we're not, the chart's great, but let's go take a look at what it really looks like. Let's see if we can see green plant cells with the chlorophyll inside. So we went out and just in our little patch of grass outside the classroom, picked 6 different kinds of weed leaves and put them under the microscope, and the kids were checking out different plant cells and the different sizes and all that. So yeah, we've been having a lot of fun and trying to make it as inquiry-based as possible.
I love it. Absolutely love it. It's genius all the way around. And with their science environment, the coolest part is that there's so many real-world connections to it. It's not going to be a hard stretch. You just make me happy. So
actually, along those lines, I should mention, I didn't even think about this, but just 2 hours ago, we were chatting with Kenya. We were talking with the Minahado Teaching Farm. Our kids, we have a garden outside. We're part of a global garden project that I think I've mentioned before. We've got schools in Cameroon, 3 schools in Kenya, Uganda, Nepal, Morocco, Venezuela, and all of these schools have their own gardens where they're gardening and then using it to benefit their own communities in some way. We're using ours to provide fresh produce and selling produce to get money for our local food pantry, but other schools are using it in different ways. So this morning we had our 3rd graders took a virtual field trip to the Minahado Teaching Farm, which is in rural Kenya, and they were seeing the different animals and stuff. That was their favorite part of the call. But we also got a lot of insight on how to plant and how deep to plant seeds and those kinds of things, so that when we start actually growing things in our garden after the winter, we'll be all set.
I absolutely love it. It's
awesome.
It is awesome. Andrea, what's happening in Irving?
Oh, lots of stuff. But on campus right now, I've got 1st grade is working on heat and what happens when the heat is applied to something. So I love that my little 1st grade teachers are stepping outside the box and really using technology. So last week they used sketch and pick stitch to talk about what the crayon looked like before, during, and after, right? But this week they gave the kids an option. Well, at the end of last week they gave the kids an option. Okay, you guys get to do your own experiment and you guys get to choose how you want to showcase it. So there were kids that did Chatter Kids, there were kids that did Pick Stitch, there were kids that just drew posters, and I loved those teachers, gave them those opportunities. So I'm like, small steps, yay!
That's great.
But some of the projects that have turned out have been so good, and but then they're learning that they're getting from that. And we just have some really good rock star teachers. And oh my goodness, Google Classroom with my 5th graders and my 4th graders have taken off. They have just come. I sat with one of the teachers during a training session that we had, and they just she sat there and she worked, and she was submitting stuff back. They were making graphs and having once they made the graph, they then had they had to ask questions for other students to answer, all inside Google Classroom. So I was so pleased that this is her first year to try it. She's like, this is so awesome.
Wow.
So I definitely get some rock star teachers this year that are trying new things and stepping outside that box.
And it's kind of like when we had our own classrooms, we would see our own students grow and we'd get all excited. It's the same thing with the teachers being our virtual students, right?
Exactly,
yeah.
Exactly.
And just to see them grow, you kind of get a little emotional, like, look at you guys.
It's been so nice because I've been in this role now. This is my 3rd year. So, we've gone through a principal change, we've gone through some district changes. So this year I feel like I'm actually getting to see some growth in my teachers, which will then return to growth for the students, which is awesome.
I love it. And, it may be something dynamic to do. Maybe Mike and some of the teachers down in Irving and some of my teachers who I've been mentoring have a little dialogue with each other. Education roundtable. We should go.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I think I expressed when I switched roles from training teachers and being an instructional coach last year to being in a science classroom. It's great to have my own students again, and I love working with them. But I do kind of miss that teacher training because you have such a wide impact. But this morning it was great. One of the teachers in my building came down, and with all of the service projects that we did last year, I was, you're worried that some of those things aren't going to go on anymore. And she said that over the weekend she had gone and set up an exchange with our friend Livingston over in Kenya, who started his own school, and that our 5th grade students are actually going to be fundraising to get uniforms for some of the students there. Totally without my help, all on their own. Absolutely made hugest smile. I was so happy.
Yay!
Yeah, happy to see those things continue. And I had a feeling that they would, but it's great to see it happen.
I was just even thinking about our friends Livingston and our other friends at Cheery and so forth, and just seeing them grow and these international collaborations and these friends they have all over the world. These are children in uncountable communities all working to help our friends in Kenya have the best experience for their students. I don't even have a word to describe how awesome that is, but that you have these children all collaborating together for a common thread is just heartwarming for sure.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Karen's here! Yay!
Hello, Karen!
Hello! Sorry, I got a little bit stuck. But I made it.
Hey. What's happening down in El Paso, Texas these days?
Oh, okay. Well, I just want you to know I set up my Wonder Grove Skype with a kinder classroom. It's gonna take place in a couple weeks, but that doesn't matter. And it couldn't be a more perfect teacher because she was displaced from her first kinder classroom, and they consolidated. And she was just moved a week ago to a brand new kinder classroom where they pulled all of those kiddos together. And so she's going to be working on kind of building up a lot of those routines here because she's a new teacher, and it's those kindergartners' first year of school. And so it's actually going to be really good for them, and still very appropriate. So I'm excited. Yay!
Have you seen one? Have you done one live, Karen?
No, you know what I did? I've only watched the Vimeo video.
Okay. You are going to be. It just brings the biggest smile to your face. It is just awesome. You're going to love it.
I don't know. The teacher's excited, but I know I'm going to be there, and I already told her I'm sorry. I'm inviting some people to come check it out, and so I'm hoping some of the other ITS will come. And she said it was fine. I'm going to invite them and just kind of get them excited about Skype in the classroom and the possibilities. And so I'm going to invite a couple people. I may shoot a couple videos, but I just think that there's so many teachers who are unaware of all of those connections that you can make, and just how, I don't want to say how easy it is, but it just takes reaching out, and that's it. So I'm excited.
Awesome.
Well, and Mike, you might want to tell Andrea what a Wonder Grove call is.
Yeah, Andrew, do you know what we're talking about?
No, I have no idea.
Okay. Wonder Grove is a website and a collaboration with lots of different resources. But one of the most incredible things that they do is if you've ever gone to like Disney and done Turtle Talk with Crush or like the Monsters Inc. show where there's an animated character that interacts with the audience in real time. It's a Skype call where one of the Wonder Grove characters named Maria will actually interact with your students live.
Oh,
and it is absolutely amazing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
And it's all centered around character ed. So she'll talk to them about, well, the calls that they're doing right now are on school readiness. Are you helping a friend? Can you line up quietly? Do you clean up your things after the end of class? And it's great for pre-K through 2nd, 3rd grade. But I spoke with Wonder Grove on Friday, and now after they've done the free call, they're looking for schools who want to be in part of the subscription.
Right.
The Wonder Grove. And with that, you get your first call is free, and they're going to do a whole section on Halloween safety, which is darling. And Maria's going to be dressed up in her little Halloween costume, and she's, don't forget, you have to go with an adult everywhere you go. And then they're going to set up calls throughout the school year that have a different premium fee, but you can pick whichever one of those you want to be free. So if it's not Halloween, they're going to do one on Valentine's Day. They're going to do one on fire safety. I mean, all these different things. You can just pick one, or if you want to add to the cost, you can add more. But
very nice.
And they have resources to go along with home extensions and learning. It's genius. Absolutely fan. Absolutely fan.
So I have an idea now. I'm going to invite some people who have budgetary control to check this out.
There you go. There you go. That's a really good idea.
Check this out. Yeah.
And the school readiness ones are free for everybody. I need to let everybody know that. So, Andrea, you could even have some of your kiddos be a part of that. And they'll work with life skills classes. They'll work with ELL, whoever.
Very nice. Ooh.
On Friday, I was actually I was teaching a teacher. We just kind of got into the Skype in the classroom conversation, and I showed her that Vimeo video, and she got really excited. And so she actually, I helped her create her Skype account, and then helped her create her Skype in the classroom account, and then she registered, and she created her profile right there. And so it was still there and available for you to register on Friday anyway, so I hope it's still up.
Awesome. So, ooh, I will check that out. On my to-do list.
So, Mike, I think we need to have Maria as one of our guest speakers on the call here.
Oh, that would be amazing if we could have Maria be a guest on the podcast. Yeah.
I think we can do that. I will send Mrs. Flowers, her teacher, a message and see if we can make that happen.
That would be spectacular. That would be. I can't tell you how happy Maria makes you when you talk to her.
We had a call in too. Well, it's right about 25 people in the room, Mike, at the time. Yeah. Every human in that room turned 5 years old. I mean, bam! You're just lit up. It's magic. So yes, we'll have to talk to Mrs. Flowers, and we'll see if we can get Maria to come talk.
Sounds good.
Okay, and switch gears just a little bit to what's happening in Andover. We've been working 2 projects. We still have these travel buddy projects that we're working in, putting together, so there'll be these stuffed animals that we're going to send all over the world is kind of what the teachers are thinking, to investigate weather data in other places, the chores that children do, because that's part of their social studies, is how each of us has a responsibility in our community. They're also going to be looking at foods and cultural kind of investigations. I think we're looking at almost 15 different buddies that will be going spread all over the world to collect this data. They're assembling the buddies now, getting them costumes, determining what they want them to investigate. And these stuffed animals are going to do home visits first. So in their own communities, student 1, the buddy will go home with that child and collect data, and he'll do some literacy building through journal writing and so forth. Next child and so forth. After that round, we'll get through the Christmas holidays. In January is when they're going to start shipping out. So we've already had requests from the teachers. We got one that wants to go to Italy. We have one that wants to go to South Africa. One wants to be in Argentina, as close to the Antarctic border as possible. Like, well, hey, we'll just see what classrooms jump in on that. But Mike, some of your international friends, this would be 2nd grade babies. If you have people who'd want to take on a buddy, we'd love it.
absolutely have connections that would be all over that. So yeah, we'll talk.
Yes, and we're open to any location, so there's good opportunity there. That, and then we do have high school class that is doing a couple of amazing things. First off, instead of having this teacher say everybody's going to create this product, you know, how many times you're going to create a PowerPoint, you're going to create a present, you're going to create a brochure. I mean, we've done those to the point where they're not even fun anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're asking children now to pick from a variety of options that show what they know, show you come up with a plan on how you want to interpret this. So they were looking at the Dust Bowl and some literature, short stories, and things around that. Opened it up. Here's a list of 20, 30 different options. You make a pitch for what you want to do and tell me what an A product would look like. Well, she ended up getting a variety of things. She had some do mock Twitter chats. She had some who came up with, one was interpretive dance, which I know it sounds a little silly, but I guess it was amazing. And one team member was reading the story, and another one, she's into dance, she interpreted it, you know, like, you can't see, and I mean, all of these.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow.
I mean, just wow, right? And she had just so many different choices. I was a little worried at first, but I said I had to trust kids can do this if I give them the reins to do so. And so proud. So that, I was like, did you videotape? She goes, no. I'm like, oh, curses, I would have loved to have. But that, and now she's moving into To Kill a Mockingbird and talking about racism and so forth. And she says, I really want students to understand from our very heterogeneous environment that this is not the reflection of the world. How do we open up those conversations and still be sensitive to ask the questions that we want to know without being ignorant of what we're saying is appropriate or inappropriate? And she said, I think I really want students to have that opportunity to dialogue, but I really want them to go deep into this conversation of personal exploration. So what she's going to do is use an old tool that's online, but a very powerful one called the Intel Seeing Reason. This tool is a way to build visually an understanding of how complex systems work. So if you are doing something on ecology and how the balance of nature and humans and all of that go together, there's no one right answer. It is such a complex system. Well, racism is also like that. You know, as much as we want to say this thing and this thing will cure that problem, it's complex. So this tool is something you look at periodically. So every few days you go a little deeper in the research, a little deeper in the reading, come back to the map and start adding to that. Go deep research. So it's cyclical, if that makes sense on how it's used. She is going to be pulling in artifacts from TED Talks to performance pieces, articles, Maya Angelou poems, I mean just all kinds of things to have students reflect on those every day. Keeping a balanced issue, you know, that it's because it's so big, you know, and keeping different perspectives in the mix, and then having the students investigate what causes that in our society and what can we do differently. So I'm very excited to see where she's going with it, especially using this tool that is it's not whiz bang pow, but it's powerful. But highly recommend it.
Yeah, along those lines, I mean, you know, this is actually a conversation that came up. It started, my daughter and I went for a run. She's in 7th grade over the weekend, and we started talking about her different classes and some of the things that they're discussing. And, you know, together we started talking about, you know, controversial issues in school, and, you know, what's the teacher's role? You know, for me as a teacher, you know, how do I bring those things up, and is it possible for me to stay neutral and not bring my beliefs into it? And should I stay neutral? And how do we expose kids to all different areas? And you know, my personal belief is that right now, not just Americans, I think, you know, the world population, with as the internet and media has grown, we're terrible at identifying and seeing through bias, which is one of the reasons why we've become more and more polarized politically and culturally, because, you know, with so much media, we tend to surround ourselves by the things that we believe, and we don't see beyond that. And, you know, if something doesn't fit into our personal belief system, we tend to not try and see through to the truth, but we just dismiss that and surround ourselves with things that are from our point of view. And so, you know, what are the resources out there, or what's the job of the teacher in bringing in both points of view. And certainly, I mean, you can tell from the work that that I've done, and being a Skype master teacher and believing in global collaboration, that I think that it's so important to bring in people live into your classroom that have differing points of view to talk about it. If you're talking about the Israeli Palestinian conflict, why not speak to Israelis and Palestinians? I mean, like, it seems crazy not to. We can get firsthand sources so easily now, so much more easily than we used to be able to. And so actually, I threw this question out on Facebook. How neutral should people be, or what's a teacher's role in these kinds of conversations? And one of the most interesting comments I got back was from a friend, Marika, who is also a top 50 finalist for the Global Teacher Prize. She said there's actually a law in Germany that requires teachers to be absolutely neutral on any political topic. And when you think about some things that some political topics that all of us would tend to agree on, or the vast majority, 99% of that democracy is a good thing. Those are things that they can't even discuss in class because putting their own opinion that it's a positive thing, could slant the discussion. And so, even when we think we're not bringing our own opinions into the conversation, we are as teachers. So, just throwing that out. It was a really interesting conversation. Lots of great comments.
Yeah, it's something I don't think we can ignore because it's very much a relative thing, and we want children to see those different perspectives. And golly, they're not going to grow up and only work with one type of people. They're going to work with a variety of humans, so it's important to us. Andrea, do you have any thoughts on this?
I do, and it goes back to what Mike was saying though too, is that so many of our kids, because I'm terrible at it as well. I am a huge social media user. But this year, and because I read a blog by Alex Kuros, I'm not necessarily teaching internet safety this year. My goal is digital citizenship, and especially after these last few weeks, social media honestly has given me a little anxiety because it hurts my heart to see what one side will say to another side because everybody is so politically charged or so have that certain idea when we're not necessarily seeing the big picture. And so whether it be police officers, whether it be teachers, I mean, we're not ever getting that full big picture because we just have that one set mindset like what Mike was saying. So that's why this year I'm really going to work on digital citizenship because I said if it's giving me anxiety seeing only one side of stories and getting oh my gosh, this is why people are saying that, I can only imagine how a student is feeling not knowing how to even go into those conversations yet because not having the big realm of understanding or even having know how to get all sides of the story. That's one thing that I can only imagine how kids feel if that's how charged I feel and how charged probably a parent feels in having those conversations with a student. So then we're just teaching that cycle over and over and over again, but now it's just bigger because we have social media and it's larger and more. So that's why I'm really going to focus on digital citizenship and not be on social media as much until things can calm down,
Andrea, our district is going to be certified in digital citizenship through Common Sense Media, and so I don't have to check them out yet and some of the lessons we have. Okay, because I know in our district right now that's going to be a huge push is the digital citizenship piece because we just went one-to-one laptops in high school, and so starting elementary school all the way up, we're going to be asking our teachers to complete, I think it's 3 lessons from the curriculum, and we've got our facilitators working on which ones are we going to ask our teachers to make sure that they share with the students because it's so important because a lot of times parents aren't teaching those skills at home or monitoring or watching them, but we want to teach them to be good citizens at school and in our city and in our state and our country, but especially, yes, online to start thinking about what they're doing. And so I think that's a good way to go. And
so I did my first digital citizenship lesson with all of grade levels last week, and we just talked about information privacy. But the next one I want to focus on is learning how to find resources. That not every resource is a good, valuable resource. That reporter right there, maybe if you look at his backtrack, is maybe not the best reporter to get information from. Or that Wikipedia right there, maybe really think about where else you get it from. So we're going to really work on research. Not necessarily research, ooh, let's go research, but just how to find those good resources and how to be okay reading that one reporter's article but also following it up with this other person's article, so we can get both sides of the story, because there are always both sides to a story.
Yeah, and also when you get those articles that are clearly biased, having students be able to identify that they're biased and go to the sources behind them. You know, go to the author's sources and look at the hard data and see, you know, was it cherry picked? Did the author just pick out a couple of things that, you know, lean towards their political ideology, or, you know, is there more to the story? Is there more numbers that would, you know, lead to a different narrative? You know, those are the things that I think are just so vitally important that are missing from not just students, but, you know, the population at large.
Exactly. Exactly.
Truly. And I just took a moment here and just looking at the four of us, we're all from 4 different communities. And it's the original band is back together, number one.
Yeah.
But how 4 people who have the same passion for children and teachers just to discover the world in a new light and build connections and friendships across the miles, across the time zones. Like, it's just awesome to have you guys in my team. I just love you. Just summary. Okay.
It is the best part of Monday.
It is. And I'm going to have to run. It's time for me to go work with a Spanish teacher, so I'm going to have to go. Mike, real quickly, what's for lunch?
Oh, I had leftover enchiladas and tacos.
You might get okay. Andrea, what's for lunch?
Some hummus and some salami and some pretzel chips. I'm back on trying to watch what I eat because I had kolaches this weekend. And some carrots.
Oh, that sounds delicious. Okay, Karen, what's for lunch?
I actually found me a nice packaged salad, but it's an Oriental, like an Asian salad with this yummy sesame dressing. So I'm looking forward to my salad.
Okay, Mike, you earn the but mine just goes with the awe because Little Smoke made me a sandwich.
Diane, he's not really little anymore. Is he graduating this year?
He's a senior. Oh
my goodness.
All my kids ever make in the kitchen is a mess, so, you know.
Sorry, I have to share something about, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Here's something about sandwiches. I was talking to a teacher the other day about sandwiches, and she was telling me she bought these edible food markers over at Michael's or something like that, and she's been leaving messages for her son on the sandwiches every day that he goes to school. And so I'm dying to buy these markers because I want to start writing messages on sandwiches and sending them to my child's school. So little tip if you pack sandwiches, because I don't know, you could leave the sweetest messages for your child, right, every day?
Or you could have a lot of fun. I mean, one or the other.
Edible markers, writing them.
When you're a senior, don't forget to pick up milk for me after school.
Yeah.
All right, friends.
That's
Thanks
great.
again for joining us, and we'll see you guys next time on EdTech Chatting 2. See ya.
Bye, everyone.